Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're wading into some very shiny, but I'd say arguably treacherous water.
That's a good way to put it.
We're talking about retirement planning, but not the boring stuff. We aren't talking about mutual funds or those abstract numbers on a screen that you check once a quarter.
No, today we're talking about the physical stuff, the treasure chest scenario.
Exactly. I think everyone has this fantasy, right? You picture your retirement savings not as a spreadsheet, but as like a literal vault. You walk in, it's cold, it's quiet, and there are stacks of silver bars and coins. It feels real. It feels secure in a way a 401k statement just never does.
It has a very primal appeal, tangible wealth. But here's the reality check we're dealing with today.
Okay.
If you try to build that treasure chest inside a tax-advantaged account, like an IRA, you are walking into a minefield of government regulation.
That's what I gathered from the reading. It seems like you can't just throw any old silver coin into the chest. If you pick the wrong one, the IRS doesn't just say no.
Oh, no.
They say, pay us.
And they say it loudly.
So, to help us navigate this, we're looking at a comprehensive breakdown by Doug Young. He's a financial markets researcher, over 20 years in the game.
And he spent, the last decade and a half? Specifically focused on gold and silver IRAs.
Right.
Doug is essentially the guy who reads the fine print in the IRS tax code so you don't have to.
Perfect. So our mission today is pretty simple. We are going to decode his research to figure out exactly what belongs in that treasure chest.
What's good silver, what's bad silver.
And why the date 2013 matters so much if you happen to like British coins. I saw that note.
Yeah, that's a wild, specific detail. We'll definitely get to that.
But before we get to the specific coins, we need to understand the rules of the road, because I think a lot of people, myself included, just assume silver is silver.
Right. It's an element. Egg.
Yeah. If I have a silver bar, why does the IRS care which one it is?
They care because the IRS isn't a coin collector. They're a tax agency. And for an asset to sit in a retirement account, it needs to have a standardized, clear market value. So Young identifies 3 golden rules, or I guess we should call them silver rules, that act as the gatekeeper.
Okay, let's break these down. What's the first barrier to entry?
It's all about purity. This is the big one. The non-negotiable number.
And how pure is pure?
For silver to be eligible, it must be 99.9% pure.
99.9, wow. That seems incredibly high. I mean, I look at my silverware or jewelry and it usually says sterling. Isn't that enough?
Not even close. Sterling silver is 0.925. So 92.5% silver.
Oh.
The rest is usually copper to make it harder, which is great for a fork. You don't want it to bend.
Right, when you're eating a steak or something.
But it's garbage to the IRS. Even those old cowboy dollars you see in movies, those are usually 90% silver. Also not good enough.
So why the obsession with the extra nines? Why do they care if there's a little copper in there?
It comes down to a concept called fungibility.
Okay, that's a $5 word. Break that down for me.
Fungibility just means that one unit of something is interchangeable with another unit of the same thing. A dollar bill is fungible. My dollar is worth exactly the same as your dollar.
Right.
The government wants to know that 1 ounce of silver in your account is worth exactly the same as 1 ounce of silver in my account. Impurities mess that up. They make the value subjective.
So you'd need like an appraiser to figure out how much is actually in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But 99.9% pure silver, that's a raw commodity. It has a specific global price.
Okay, that actually makes sense. They want it to be liquid. They don't want you holding weird antiques that take 6 months to sell. So rule 1, it has to be virtually pure. What's rule 2?
Certification. You can't just refine silver in your basement, pour it into a mold, and scratch 99.9 on it.
There goes my weekend plan. I was going to fire up the kiln.
Yeah, you have to shut it down. The silver must be certified by a recognized manufacturer or have a hallmark from a major exchange. The source lists the big ones. COMEX, NYMEX, the LBMA in London.
So it needs a pedigree, a paper trail.
Exactly. It needs a stamp that guarantees that purity we just talked about. Without it, the market and the IRS won't trust it.
And the third rule?
Condition. This one actually catches people off guard. The silver must be in good condition.
Define good.
Free of damage, no heavy scratches, no dents, no excessive wear.
See, that feels subjective to me and honestly a little unfair. If I have a pure silver bar and I drop it and it gets a dent, it's still the same amount of silver, isn't it?
It is.
The atoms haven't gone anywhere. Why does the IRS care if it's ugly?
You're thinking like a chemist. The IRS is thinking like an accountant.
Whoa.
If an asset is damaged, its resale value drops. An IRA is a financial vehicle. If the assets inside it are degraded, the value of the account is compromised. So they insist on unimpaired quality.
Okay, so we have the framework. 99.9% pure, certified source, good condition. Now I want to get to the fun part, the actual loot. What can we actually put in the chest?
Let's start with coins. This is the most popular entry point. And according to Young's analysis, the heavyweight champion of the world is undoubtedly the American Silver Eagle.
Is the American standard.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's minted by the U.S. Mint. It hits that purity requirement perfectly, and it is arguably the most recognized silver coin on the planet.
And being recognized matters when you try to sell it, right?
Hugely.
Ah.
It's about liquidity again.
Yeah.
You can sell an American Eagle anywhere in the world. A coin dealer in Tokyo or London knows exactly what it is.
Got it.
Now, there's nuance here the source mentions. You can also buy a proof version of the Eagle.
Proof just means shiny, right?
Basically. It's struck multiple times to give it a mirror-like background. It's designed for collectors. The source notes that these are allowed in an IRA.
But should you? I mean, if it's just silver, why pay extra for the shine?
That's the real question. Proof coins carry a higher premium. You pay more for the craftsmanship. But the silver content is the same as the regular bullion version.
So if your goal is just to stack silver, the regular version is more efficient.
Right. And if you want something pretty to look at, well, actually, you can't look at it.
Oh, right.
Because it's locked in a vault somewhere.
We'll get to the storage rules later, but that's a great point. You're paying for a finish you can't even admire on your coffee table.
It's not the most efficient use of your investment dollars, no. But let's look internationally. The IRS is surprisingly cosmopolitan, as long as the purity holds up.
Okay.
And this is where we see some countries kind of showing off. Take Canada.
The maple leaf.
The Canadian silver maple leaf. Now listen to this distinction. The American Eagle is 0.999 pure. The Canadian maple leaf is 0.999 pure.
The 4 nines.
The 4 nines. It is technically pure.
Does that make a massive difference in price?
Not really. But for the purists, it's a flex by the Royal Canadian Mint. They're basically saying, we can refine this better than anyone else.
I noticed the list also included the Austrian Vienna Philharmonic.
Yes, the only major bullion coin denominated in euros. Its beautiful instruments on one side, the great organ of the Musikverein Concert Hall on the other.
I like the idea of having a little culture in the portfolio. Feels sophisticated.
It does. And then you have the Australian coins from the Perth Mint, the Silver Koalas, the Kookaburras, and the Lunar Series.
The Lunar Series is the zodiac animals, right?
Right. Year of the Dragon, Year of the Snake. You could literally have a zoo in your IRA.
Pandas, koalas, snakes.
You could. The Chinese silver panda is another eligible one. And what's cool about the panda is the design changes every year.
Which usually makes things collectible, doesn't it? And I thought collectibles were banned.
It's a gray area that lands on the safe side. Because it's a standard government-issued bullion coin, it slips through the gate.
Interesting.
But, and here's where it gets really tricky, you have to be so careful. Just because a country makes a silver coin doesn't mean every version of that coin is allowed.
Okay, this is where we get to the traps. I read this part of Doug Young's report twice. There's a specific trap with the Silver Britannia.
This is the kind of detail where you really need an expert. If you try to do this yourself, you will get burned.
Okay.
The Silver Britannia is a classic coin. But prior to 2013, the Royal Mint made them with 0.958 silver.
0.958. That is such a random number.
It's historically known as Britannia silver. It's an old standard. But remember the golden rule.
99.9%.
Exactly. So 0.958 fails. It wasn't until 2013 that the Royal Mint upgraded the purity to 0.999.
So if I buy a 2012 Britannia, it's a prohibited asset and I get fined. But a 2014 Britannia is perfectly fine.
You got it.
That is terrifyingly specific. You're talking about a 1-year difference that could disqualify your entire account.
It shows that the IRS looks at chemistry, not history. They don't care that it's a Britannia. They care about the alloy composition.
Are there other traps like that?
The other big one is the Old West trap. People love Morgan dollars and peace dollars. They feel like real money.
Yeah, they're heavy. They have history.
But they are 90% silver.
So they are out.
Generally, yes. Young notes a very rare exception. There are select modern mintings that hit the 99.9% mark, but they are incredibly rare. For the most part, stay away.
Okay, so unless I really know what I'm doing, stick to modern high-purity coins. But let's shift gears. What if I don't care about the pretty pictures?
You just want weight.
I just want weight. I want to get the most silver for my dollar.
Then you graduate to bars. Bars are the choice for efficiency.
Why is that?
It comes down to two terms, spot price and premium.
Break those down?
The spot price is the raw market value of the silver.
Yeah.
The premium is everything else, the cost to shape it, stamp it, ship it, and the dealer's profit.
Right.
It costs more money to mint a coin, to stamp an eagle on it, than it does to pour a simple rectangular bar.
That makes sense.
So coins have a higher premium, bars have a lower premium. When you buy a bar, more of your money is going toward the actual silver.
So if I have $50,000 to invest, I get more actual silver if I buy bars than if I buy eagles.
Precisely. It's the bulk discount approach. But again, you can't just buy any bar. Names matter.
Who are the approved players?
The source lists the heavy hitters. Johnson Mathia. PAMP Suisse. You'll recognize them. They often have Lady Fortuna on the bar.
A little goddess of luck for the retirement fund. I like it.
Never hurts. And they're sunshine minting. Young points out a really cool feature with their 10-ounce bars. They have something called Mint Mark SI.
Is that a security thing?
It is. It's a micro engraving you can only see with a special decoder lens. It proves the bar isn't a fake.
Which is pretty important.
In a world where you might be storing this for 20 years, proving authenticity is everything.
I also saw one on the list that sounded surprisingly green. OPM.
Ohio Precious Metals.
Yeah.
This is a fascinating option for the eco-conscious investor. Mining silver is a dirty business.
Right.
OPM produces bars using recycled silver.
Recycled. Like from electronics.
Industrial scrap, old jewelry, photographic chemicals, yeah. They refine it back up to that perfect 0.999 purity. So you get the asset security, but you aren't digging a new hole in the ground to get it.
That is a great option. It feels good to have an ethical choice. Okay, we've covered the good stuff. Now we need to talk about the bad list. The term in the report that I think confuses a lot of people is collectibles.
This is the biggest pitfall. The IRS strictly forbids collectibles in an IRA.
But wait, you just said the pandas are collectible. Isn't that a contradiction?
It is a bit confusing.
Yeah.
When the IRS says collectible in the context of what is banned, they're usually referring to items where the value is detached from the metal. And the biggest trap here is slabbed coins.
Describe a slabbed coin for me.
You've seen them. It's a coin encased in a hard, tamper-proof plastic holder. It has a label at the top with a grade like MS-70.
Mint state 70, and that means it's perfect, right?
It means it's visually flawless. And because it's flawless, collectors pay a huge premium for it. A regular silver eagle might cost $35. A slabbed MS-70 eagle might cost $100 or more.
So why does the IRS hate them?
Because the IRS only recognizes the metal value.
Oh.
If you put that $100 coin in your IRA, the IRS looks at it and says, that's $35 worth of silver.
Ouch. So you're taking a loss immediately, in their eyes.
In the eyes of the tax code, yes. The source explicitly states that slabbed or certified coins are generally not acceptable. The premium you pay for that plastic case is dead weight. You're paying for a grade, not for silver.
That is a crucial distinction. You are investing in silver, not in plastic. What about jewelry? Can I put grandma's antique silver necklace in the IRA?
Absolutely not. No jewelry, no silverware, no plated items.
Why?
Valuation. How do you price a necklace? It's subjective. And the purity is almost never 0.999. So keep the necklace in the jewelry box, not the IRA.
And just to be clear, what happens if I mess this up? What if I sneak a 2010 Britannia in there?
It's not a slap on the wrist. Doug Young is very clear on this. You're looking at penalties, fines, and potential tax implications. In a worst-case scenario, the IRS could disqualify the entire IRA.
Disqualify the entire IRA, so the whole thing becomes taxable immediately.
Potentially. It's called a prohibited transaction. It's like popping the balloon of your tax shelter. All the air goes out, and you're left with a massive tax bill.
Okay, scare tactic effective. I will stick to the list. Now, I want to pivot to the how. Let's say I'm convinced. I want to buy some bars and some maples. Can I just buy them online and put them in my safe at home?
Stop right there. That is the home storage rule, and it is the fastest way to get in trouble.
Why? It's my retirement. Why can't I hold it?
It comes back to the tax advantage status. The IRS requires a strict chain of custody. First, you can't contribute assets you already own.
Okay.
You have to use cash in the IRA to buy new metal.
Okay, so I buy new metal. Can I have it shipped to my house?
No. You cannot be the custodian of your own IRA assets. It must be stored in an IRS-approved depository.
So no burying it in the backyard?
No backyard, no mattress, no home safe. If you take personal possession of the silver, the IRS considers that a distribution.
Which means taxes.
Taxes and penalties.
Yeah.
It effectively dissolves the IRA status. The whole point of the depository is that there's a third party verifying, yes, the silver is here and the owner hasn't touched it.
We've focused heavily on silver today, but obviously most people hear precious metals IRA and think gold. Why would someone choose silver over gold?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
The source breaks this down. The biggest argument for silver is affordability.
it's cheaper.
Much cheaper per ounce.
Hmm.
If you have, say, $2,000, you might get a tiny coin of gold the size of a fingernail. For that same money, you could get a substantial stack of silver bars.
It feels more substantial.
Psychologically, that matters.
So,
But there's also the industrial argument. Silver is used in everything: solar panels, batteries, electronics, medicine.
so the price is driven by industry, not just investors.
Correct. Which leads to the downside: volatility.
The price jumps around.
Gold is like a steady grandfather. Holds its ground. Silver is like an energetic teenager. It can spike up fast when industries need it, but it can crash hard too.
So if you have a weak stomach, maybe don't go 100% silver.
Exactly. And Young points out you don't have to choose. You can diversify within the metal IRA. You can hold gold, silver, platinum, and palladium all in the same chest.
Just checking, do platinum and palladium have crazy purity rules too?
Even stricter, 0.9995. So don't guess on those either.
So what does this all mean for the listener? We've covered purity, the date traps, the danger of slab collectibles, the storage rules.
It really comes down to precision. The IRS has carved out a very specific niche where treasure meets tax code. If you stay within the lines, buy the eagles, buy the bars, use a custodian, it's a powerful way to diversify.
But if you try to get cute, if you try to sneak in that 2012 Britannia or stash the gold in your basement,
You turn a tax shelter into a tax liability. And honestly, the biggest takeaway from Doug Young's research is the importance of having a guide. The difference between a compliant asset and a prohibited one can be a decimal point in purity.
it's not the time to DIY it completely.
You know, there is one final thought I'd like to leave you with. It's something that struck me while reading about these chemical purity standards.
Go for it.
We spend our whole lives looking at coins as money. A quarter is 25 cents because the government says so.
Right.
But in a silver IRA, the government stops looking at these things as currency and starts looking at them purely as chemical elements.
That's true. They don't care about the face value. They care about the atomic structure.
Exactly. A coin in your pocket is a token of trust. A coin in your IRA is a raw material. It's a shift from legal tender to tangible reality. And in a digital world, I think that is exactly why people are drawn to it.
That is a deep thought to end on. From in God we trust to in chemistry we trust.
Something like that.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into silver IRAs. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.